Either they are happening out of this is intentional, not just domestically when you look at what's going on inside America, but outside America. I picked up the Wall Street Journal as I was coming in this morning, and I mean, it's just everywhere. Venezuela, are you guys paying attention to what's going on with our neighbor on in our hemisphere down there in Venezuela? I mean, this is really serious, really crazy. There's a lot. I mean, as I'm reading the story about what Maduro, the president who refused to accept the results, he is the one, we hear this adage all the time. You can vote socialism in, but you got to shoot your way out. So Venezuela, I mean, they were at the top of almost every single metric you can think of. Not probably not even 10 years ago. They were at the top of everything. They looked a lot, felt a lot like being here in America. Their people had abundance. And of course, you have these very liberal minded people who come in with these talking points about everybody should have equal pay and equity and all this kind of foolishness. And Venezuelans voted themselves into socialism. And now they're finding out, right? Like, you gonna learn, my mother-in-law would tell her grandkids, you gonna learn. You gonna learn the hard way or the easy way. And it's very unfortunate for the people in Venezuela. I think there is a lesson to be learned for all Americans as well, who are loving the idea of equity and everybody's equal and everybody should get the same stuff. Yes, our worth as humans are equal, but we all bring different things to the table, right? And so I say I have a caller. Ed, how are you?
Hey, Kathy Barnette. I never have regret when I talk to my sweetheart, Kathy Barnette.
Okay. We're sweethearts
If I
now?
can make you laugh, I can keep you on the right path.
Awesome. How can I help you?
Well, I'll tell you what I think, and you tell me what you think.
Okay.
And that is that Trump ought to be, whenever he's outside, behind bulletproof glass, because I'm telling you what, I hope I'm wrong. God forbid anything should happen to this man, but I say that he should be behind bulletproof glass. Now, I heard that Obama used to be behind it when he did rallies outside. How come Trump ain't getting the same treatment?
Have you been watching I've been glued to C-SPAN, watching these hearings on what took place. Did you happen to catch any of that with the?
Well, no, I listen to a lot of these hearings on talk radio or see clips of them on Fox News or Newsmax. I wouldn't, my head would explode. And you'd have to wrap it up and duct tape to find all the pieces.
I was screaming at it. You're so right. As I'm listening to C-SPAN, this is when former, because she has now since resigned, Secret Service director, I call her Cheetos, but I think it's Cheetos, something like that. Nonetheless, she was being grilled by Democrats and Republicans alike. And every answer was, I don't have the answer in front of me. I will get that back to you. I can't answer that. I don't know. This is like a week after the fact, right? And it's how I started this show. Either these people are grossly incompetent or there's something nefarious going on here.
I'm going with something nefarious and a cover-up beyond biblical proportions, because let me tell you something. All these warnings and law enforcement seeing this guy and nobody does anything. Was somebody handed a briefcase full of money to look the other way?
I saw. Now, I don't know anything about a briefcase full of money, but I saw the latter. I saw this little young kid on the roof. I mean, I could have picked up a rock and threw it at him. That's how close he was to the crowd. You can see him shuffling around. This is so obvious, right? And a couple of days before this attack happened, this assassination attempt on President Donald Trump's life occurred, I posted on Twitter and I pinned it to the top that I need to come up with new conspiracy theories because all my old ones have come to pass. And then boom, this happens, right?
Hey, I got one last request because you're the best, and that is Move to New Jersey and run for governor.
I know, right? Maybe you guys will appreciate me a little bit more. Get me in
I
office.
appreciate you all day long.
Thank you so much for calling, Ed. I appreciate it. I mean, listen, I know you guys appreciate me, or at least 330,000 plus of you had the good sense to make sure you went out there and voted for me. So to you, I appreciate you. For those Johnny-come-latelys who now know I'm like all that and then some, and you should have voted for me, thank you. I don't know if you will ever have a next time, but nonetheless, I am so very grateful to Pennsylvania and everyone here. But I mean, Ed has, gotten me talking about, Donald Trump. I mean, guys, I know, I wasn't here with you, so I wasn't really able to say anything to all of you as I am right now. Again, here's the number, the call-in number, 855-839-1210, 855-839-1210 if you want to call in. But oh my goodness, when I heard that, I mean, do you know where you were? It was such a blur. It was like and every time I think about it, even now, just the thought of what could have happened. I mean, God. Again, I believe God allowing Donald Trump to win in 2016 was a reprieve for our nation. He did not give us what we deserve. I earnestly believe we deserved Hillary Clinton and all the horror that would have came with her, right? When you have a country that is just done, just so foolish and been so blessed and yet so foolish in so many things. We deserved Hillary Clinton, but by the grace of God, he gave us a reprieve, gave us Donald Trump those 4 years. I don't care what you think about him. I don't care. But anyone who's not morally compromised, blind, deaf, and dumb, you recognize through those 4 years, for the overwhelming majority of Americans, we were living high on the hog, right? I grew up on a pig farm. I know exactly what that phrase means. High on the hog. We were all living the best version or the better version of our lives. Inflation 1.8. I remember getting gas for $1.82. Yes, I did. The border secure. We weren't in wars, and rumors of war. There were no threats that my son would possibly be drafted. I mean, the patients were not running the asylum. Today we have the inverse. The patients are running the asylum being our country. And I'm so grateful to God for Donald Trump those 4 years, and I look forward to getting a modicum of what we had those previous 4 years back. But I'm watching what happened to him, and even the thought of it makes me feel some kind of way. I feel unnerved and shaky when I think about it, right? I mean, God again has given us a reprieve by less than an inch. It is so crazy. I am going to hopefully I would get Senator or Congressman, federal Congressman, U.S. Congressman Corey. I think his last name is Mills on. He was at one point a sniper. He's been very vocal about all that has happened. So hopefully we get to have him on. Christian over in Jenkintown. Hey, what's up, Christian?
Hello. So you said that this was either intentional or gross incompetence. I would add indifferent to doing the job correctly.
It does feel that way.
They didn't care enough to do the job right. So it's one of the three I's, or it's a soup of them. But I would kind of add almost like an intellectual question, or kind of a thought game, is that at what point in time does it become criminal negligence when you allow this to happen? There was credible threat. They knew that threats existed, and yet they didn't act in an appropriate, responsible manner, not too dissimilar to drinking and driving. You know, it's not, you don't get charged necessarily with manslaughter.
Everyone should be fired. I agree. I agree.
So yeah, so basically it's like if you kill somebody while drinking and driving, it's not necessarily manslaughter. It can be counted as murder, an intentional act. due to just the gross negligence.
Yeah.
So at what point in time do you actually hold people, people's feet to the fire and say, no, you are now in serious trouble. It's not just fire.
Yeah.
You will now be investigated for negligence.
Well, Christian, I appreciate that thought. I agree so much. Mayorkas, however, right? I mean, he's the one who's over Homeland Security Director. He's over our border, according to them, has never been tighter and more secure in American history. He says, he's proud of his people, right? Now, you and I are watching these videos of this little kid up there on the roof kind of tap dancing and just, just gross incompetence or negligence or intentional. I don't know. But what I do know is that all my other conspiracy theories that would have been labeled conspiracy theories have come to pass. We are not as dumb as these people would try to make us to believe. So believe your eyes. Y'all saw what happened. You're watching these I don't know what they are. They usually come to nothing. But these investigations, these hearings, and these people, they really have nothing to give us 2-3 weeks later.
Yeah, it's a lot of chest beating and breathing fire with nothing to show. It's the same song and dance. It's really unimpressive.
Democrats would never allow this to stand. If they were in office and this had happened to one of their, even if they weren't in control, I mean, if this had happened to one of theirs, Democrats, I mean, they would be bringing everybody in, right? All the media talking points. But I'm like, what are Republicans waiting on? For Democrats to actually succeed? For one of their left-leaning sympathizers to actually succeed in harming some of our leaders? I don't know what we're waiting on. Christian, thank you so much for calling. Chris, hey, Chris, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, Mrs. Barnette. It is a pleasure and an honor to speak with you.
Thank you.
I told your the call screener that 2 weeks ago, my wife and myself went on a Viking river cruise, and we were going from Amsterdam up to Basel, Switzerland.
Ooh.
And I had a chance to talk to the captain of the boat, who happened to be from Germany, and we got talking politics. And they paid, I think he said 50% tax rate in Germany. Their health care is absolute pitiful. The retirement is worse. He says it's unbelievably bad. He said, do not go down that rabbit hole because you will never find your way out.
Out of
he
what?
Said it is
what is?
Out of the socialism rabbit hole.
Yes, we know it. History. We don't actually have to. I mean, I think that was one of the saving graces for my eldest brother and I. We talk about it all the time, right? We grew up. There was a tremendous amount of dysfunction. Maybe I'll write a book about it. Who knows? But my brother and I, as we were growing up, we often say, like, how did we survive? How did we make it out? And one of the things we've rested on is the fact that our personalities is one that we don't have to beat our head up against a wall to know that's gonna hurt. We can actually look at other people's lives and say, okay, based on what they did and where they are, we don't want that. And we can look at something else and say, oh, this is better, right? We don't actually have to experience the hardship in order to know maybe there's a better way. And the same way for us, there is no excuse except for greed, gluttony, and just sheer evil that America would sign up for communism, because we're blowing right past socialism at this point. And we're getting into the world of communism. And there's absolutely no reason for that. Because history tells us, we can look around the world and see socialism, communism, it's not going to be good for the rank and file of us.
Nope. The thing is, you don't have to beat our head against the wall. You have to beat other people's heads against the wall for them to see it.
That is so true. I am so hopeful that Americans wake up, because I'm glued to what's happening in Venezuela right now, and it is very unnerving. It feels very similar to 2020. when a certain party stole the election, but we're not supposed to say that, right? Because that didn't happen. It was the most secure election
that
ever.
didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. Chris, thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate you. Woo! Okay, guys, we're going to go on a break. Play my music. Here we go. Okay, call in. What's that number? 855-839-1210. 855-839-1210. I want to hear your voice. Charles, call back. I'm so sorry I dropped that call. Okay, call me.
Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
We have a rim shot on the board. Tony asked for it, and Jim delivered. Tony, did you hear the
Jim.
Did you hear the rim shot? By the way, you're a rim
Yes.
shot expert, so I need a score on this rim shot. You give me a score. Ready?
Never use that. If I hear one rim shot on this radio station, we're going to be smooth jazz the next day.
The number one Odyssey talk station flips formats because of excessive rim shots. Wow.
Start your day with Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Don't count on summer heat to melt away those extra pounds. That doesn't work. But here's something that does work, and that's NJ Diet. For over a decade, NJ Diet has helped thousands of people lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days. That's nearly twice as fast as weight loss injections and without any of those nasty side effects. NJ Diet uses your hair, saliva, and blood work, along with scans to personalize natural solutions and supplements to get you to shed that fat quickly. Then NJ Diet uses your DNA info to help you keep the weight off. No shots, no prepackaged meals, and no surgery. NJ Diet is fully supervised every step of the way to make sure you are burning fat and not just losing water. You even get the doctor's personal email and phone number. Locations close by are available from anywhere with live online video consultations. Call 855-5NJ-DIET or schedule your consult today at njdiet.com. That's njdiet.com. Lose the weight for good.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano for my friend, dentist and board-certified prosthodontist Dr. Robert Bentz and the Bentz Dental Group. His state-of-the-art facility makes your dentistry as easy as can be. Recently, they had a permanent tooth put in. And you know how it is. In the past, you bite down, it's too high. It's always too high. The back and forth getting it just right. Well, not this time. With Dr. Bentz, it fit perfectly the first time. Call the Bentz Dental Group now, 610-272-6949. Visit BentzDentalGroup.com, 610-272-6949.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Do you have a property that you no longer want? Maybe you inherited the property. Maybe you're underwater in the property. Or maybe you're just a tired landlord, tired of dealing with tenants. Listen, I can buy those properties, and I'll buy those properties fast. I can close in 2 weeks. I buy properties cash. My name is Larry Steinhaus. Give me a call at 855-939-1137. That's 855-939-1137, and I will personally answer the call. You can also visit EasyOutRealEstate.com. Hey, this is Larry Steinhaus from Investor Schooling. Did you know I have a radio show every Saturday from 1 to 3? It's called The Larry Steinhaus Show, and it's sponsored by Investor Schooling. On this show, you will learn things about finances and things about money that you never knew before. But even more of a reason to listen to this show is how much fun we have. If you haven't heard the banter between me, Omri, and Dr. Deb, you haven't heard the greatest show on earth. Listen to this show this Saturday at 1 o'clock right here on WPHT, and I promise you will learn something.
It's hot out there, and your inefficient windows mean high utility bills all year long. Window Nation sells some of the most energy-efficient windows you can buy and was recently ranked highest on Forbes' list of best window installation companies. Right now, for every 2 windows you buy, you'll get 2 free, plus 0 down and no interest or payments for 2 years. Stop paying more than you have to. Schedule an in-home estimate right now at 866-90Nation or visit windownation.com.
Hey, fantasy football owners. The road to winning your fantasy football championship starts now. I'm Matt Harmon from Reception Perception. Join me and James Coe as we take a deep dive into the position that's going to make or break your fantasy roster. Wide receivers. We analyze route running, target share, and all the metrics that matter, giving you the insights you need to draft the best wide receivers. As you prep for your draft, let us give you the coverage you need. Follow and listen to Reception Perception on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Got my walking shoes on. I can't tell you where I'm going, but I'm walking down this lonely road.
What? I love it. Yes, it's beautiful, guys. This is me trying to be zen in this moment in time that we find ourselves in. Like I said, trying to find a problem to obsess over is like trying to drink water from a fire hydrant. Everything, whether you look domestically, internationally, seems to be on fire. And I could not think of anyone better to help us understand what is really going on. I don't know if you could bring us much zen, Monica. But Monica Crowley, thank you so much for being here with us.
Hey, good morning, Kathy. It's my honor and pleasure to join you this morning.
Absolutely. Listen, guys, if you want to call in and be a part of this conversation, please do so at 855-839-1210, 855-839-1210. Monica Crawley worked with President Nixon. I know you always like to clarify or qualify and say it was at the end.
Yes, the last years of his life. I was not born when he was elected president, Kathy.
You certainly don't look it. You look great. So I thought that was cute. Only a woman would get that, right? But nonetheless, you bring a wealth of knowledge. You worked with President Nixon, former Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs at Treasury under the first Trump administration. And from what I read, you're being touted for a position in the second Trump administration. I had something else I was going to start off with, and maybe we'll get there. That's Project 2025. I know you were a contributor to that policy piece, but I wake up, I get the Wall Street Journal, and everything, it's like the world is on fire, right? And I mean, we could start with Venezuela. I'll let you pick, or we could start with what just happened with Hezbollah, Israel responding to Hezbollah, what Israel and the United States believe was Hezbollah that actually sent in rockets into Golan Heights. I've been there before, and 12 young boys were killed in that, and now Israel has responded. But guess what? Erdogan is also intimating that he may want to get involved in this war against Israel. This seems to be spreading into World War III, maybe? I don't know. Tell us, what should we think?
Well, Kathy, all of this chaos, death, and destruction that you see around the world is a direct result of very weak American leadership.
I agree.
So the American president, regardless of who he or she is an absolute symbol of American power at any given time. So when you have a strong president like a Donald Trump or a Ronald Reagan or Richard Nixon, you have far less wars, you have far less chaos and destruction in the world, because our enemies know that the United States is strong both in real terms and strong symbolically in the sense of the president, the commander-in-chief, being willing to act to preserve and defend America's interests, and our allies around the world. When you have the opposite of that, when you have a United States that is symbolized in a weak president and therefore considered weak in both real terms and or perceived terms, the wheels come off the world.
Yeah.
The bad guys advance, the good guys retreat, and you have absolute chaos. So this is what we're witnessing right now. And frankly, we have over the last 3.5 years that Joe Biden has ostensibly been president, although I think we all know that the Obamas and the Obama machine has actually been running this country straight into the ground. But
people are
seeing,
calling in. Do you want to take a couple of calls?
Sure, whatever you'd like.
Okay, awesome. Let me go to Rich. You've been online. You've been holding on for a while. Rich, what do you want to ask Monica?
Now, I don't know if she can know much about it. I feel some questions that should just be answered is the trajectory of all the bullets. Was the kid's scope set for the distance he was shooting? Because if it wasn't, I feel he wouldn't have made the shot. And what was his whereabouts, his whereabouts the week before he made this great decision?
Yeah.
And there's too many. They're not answering the physical questions. We know that what happened that day was a clown show. That's a whole different story.
It was. Rich, so let me get to Monica. I have a lot of people on hold right now. Monica, Rich is talking about that attempted assassination on Donald Trump's life and the young boy being up on the rooftop. Everyone saw it. Everyone knew what was going on, or at least the people on the ground, the lay people knew. The experts seemed to not know what was going on. But what's really disturbing is that, I don't know, what are we now, 2-3 weeks later? People still don't seem to know. Those who are in the business of intelligence still don't know what's going on. Do you have any insight?
Well, I would alter that a bit, Kathy, and say the powers that be, say the FBI director, the acting head of the Secret Service, since the director resigned last week. I think they do know.
I do too.
I think they do know. So when you say they don't know what's going on, I think they do know, and you are witnessing a cover-up. I think the more and more details that we do get about this shooter, and I mean, I don't know a single 20-year-old, Kathy, who has no digital footprint, no social media presence whatsoever, but 3 overseas bank accounts, a couple of phones, all with encrypted communications on them, was able to get a rifle with a rangefinder, to Rich's question, a rangefinder through security, climb up on top of a roof, be noticed 90 minutes before the first bullets start to fly with no intervention whatsoever on the part of law enforcement or Secret Service. This stinks to high heaven.
Yeah.
I think we have seen over the last couple of years, actually the last couple of decades, what the deep state is capable of. And I think a lot of people have a lot of very serious questions about what went down 3 weeks ago.
I agree. Let me take another call. Angelo, you're on the line.
Yes.
What's your question?
I'm 91 years old.
Oh, hello.
I've never seen a perfect setup to kill somebody. So that's my opinion.
Okay.
They can go back and forth. Nobody knows what's what. I can tell. I was watching it. I couldn't tell. I could tell, like, the guy that shot the shooter, he waited until the guy shot to Trump, and 4 seconds later, he was dead. So he knew exactly where to shoot.
Right, exactly, right. For someone not to know, but then now know so quickly. Angelo, thank you for that call. Monica, let me just get one more in, and then I'll just hand it over to you. But, Joe, you have a question?
Yeah, first of all, Kathy, I'd like to tell you, you captured a lot of hearts. It's a shame that a lot of other people's hearts aren't in the right place. But, Monica,
Thank you, Joe.
It's a privilege to speak with you. I just want to know what you think of Michelle Obama's eventual entry into this and Kamala being just a placeholder. And the reason why I say this is because everything they accuse us of, they're guilty of. So what better way to have a dictatorship than to have Obama for 8 years, Biden for 4, and then Michelle for another 8 years?
Monica?
Well, thank you. Yes, thank you so much for the nice words, and thank you for the question. As you probably know, I was one of, if not the very first person 2.5 years ago to suggest that they were going to dump Joe Biden and that they were going to reach for Michelle Obama as their candidate. And the reason I thought that at the time was because I saw my friend Joel Gilbert produced a film 2.5 years ago called Michelle Obama 2024. And I saw it, and I was blown away. And I thought, holy cow. So I said it from the main stage at CPAC, and everybody 2.5 years ago, like their jaws dropped. Look, Kamala Harris, right now, her polling is okay. It's not great, but it's okay against Trump. If she starts to falter and really slide over the next 2.5 weeks before the Democrat convention, they will dump her so fast your head will spin.
Yeah, but Monica,
because they only want to win, right? They only want to cling to power. They cannot allow Donald Trump to come back in again. The only candidate who will square the political identity game circle that they have going is Michelle Obama. They cannot dump the woman of color except if they're going to replace her with another woman of color.
You know what? That is true. Like, that is how they think. Joe, let me give you one more question.
well, no, it's just I agree, but the biggest accusation that they've come up with is Trump is, and it hit me immediately. Trump is going to be a dictator. That's always been the top of the list. What better way to, in the most hypocritical of ways, create your own dictatorship by trying to put her in there for the next 8 years?
Joe, thank you so much for calling. And Monica, on that pivot, on that question, allow me to pivot to, talk about a threat to our democracy, which is the Democrats' byline, right? As they kick Joe Biden to the curb and then just anoint Kamala Harris, who no one voted for. But they are also saying that this Project 2025, this roughly nearly 900-page book, is a threat to democracy. And I was in California, and one of my relatives started saying, what about Project 2025? What about Project 25? It's racist. It's going to take us back in time. What is Project 2025?
So Project 2025 was something that was undertaken about maybe 2 years ago. And when they were first launching it, they had reached out to me just to offer a couple of little points of advice, given my experience at the Treasury Department, what I thought could have been improved, what could work better, etc. But as of 2 years ago, I had nothing more to do with it after that. But what they wanted to do, and this was out of the conservative think tank, the Heritage Foundation, what they wanted to do was essentially develop a blueprint for every agency, every department in the federal government, Treasury, state, agriculture, et cetera, and really kind of take apart what works, what doesn't work, what can be cut, what needs to be improved, et cetera, along with a proposed list of names of real American patriots who could get in there from day one when Trump is reelected and start reforming these institutions and the federal government. So it had a very noble cause. But it was not sanctioned by President Trump or later his campaign. And in fact, the campaign and President Trump, they have their own blueprint called Agenda 47 for the 47th president of the United States, hopefully Donald Trump. So the only sanctioned blueprint for the next 4 years under President Trump is something called Agenda 47. It is not Project 2025. So the left very cleverly glommed on to Project 2025 and tried to scare the bejesus out of everybody, they're going to rip apart the entire federal government and your benefits are going to be, in play and all these things that are not true. But we know that the left lies. And so they weaponized Project 2025 to try to scare their base with these weaponized lies. And that's why President Trump felt the need to distance himself between that and the project, because he really didn't have anything to do with it. And he's got his own agenda about how reform and how economic policy, border policy, foreign policy, how that's all going to come into play. So that is really the only credible one. Project 2025 was an outside project that really had nothing to do with President Trump, but was being demonized by the left. And that's why, President Trump had to make very clear that he was not part of that, and that blueprint he himself has not adopted.
Monica, you are a wealth of knowledge. I mean, I'm so impressed. Thank you so much for being on. But let me ask you one more question before I let you go. The nation has moved right past Joe Biden like it never happened.
Right.
As if they weren't just complaining that he's unfit to run. Now, my thinking is if he's unfit to run for president, doesn't that make him unfit to be president for the next 6 months? And right now, I was looking at the White House schedule, at his schedule, and there are no public appearances other than him tomorrow walking onto a plane and off a plane. Where is Joe Biden? Is this what we've now come to, that he's unfit to run, but he's okay to be president? Like, who's actually running the country right now?
Well, that's a very good question, Kathy, and people deserve transparency and they deserve answers. Who is running the country right now? Is it still the Obamas and the Obama machine? Where is Joe? The world is aflame. You mentioned Venezuela. You mentioned the Middle East. The world is on fire. Do we have a president? Where is he? Is he awake? And I think even the bigger question, because when Israel struck in the heart of Tehran and took out the Hamas leader deep in Iran, that is a very justified move, but it's an escalatory move. Yeah. And they took out the Hezbollah leader as well in Beirut. You've got a major high-stakes situation going on in the Middle East. The person who came out first with a statement was Kamala Harris, not the president, not the commander-in-chief, her. So the question is Kamala the acting president right now? I think we deserve to know who the heck is running America, because we've got serious national security issues, both abroad and at home, thanks to the no borders policy. Yeah. We've got all kinds of dire situations coming down on us. We need to know who is leading this country.
Wow. Thank you so much, Monica Crawley. Thank you so much for coming on. I truly appreciated this, and you've given us so much insight. To everyone else, you are listening to the Dawn Stensland Show. I am sitting in for Dawn. My name is Kathy Barnette. If you've been under a rock and don't know it, listen, call in at 855-839-1210, 855-839-1210. I'll see you guys on the other side.
Talk Radio 1210's Huge Politics and Pints with Donald Trump Jr. is moving to Thursday, September 12th. Join Dom Giordano as he talks to Donald Trump Jr. about all things Trump. Just 2 days after the planned presidential debate. The new date, Thursday, September 12th at Scottish Rite Auditorium in Collingswood. Your tickets include a copy of Letters to Trump by former President Trump. A cash bar will be available. Get your tickets now at 1210WPHT.com. That's 1210WPHT.com.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free Just go to ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ziprecruiter.com/free.
Does your broker say, "We're different. We're a fiduciary. We only make money when you make money"? Well, the reality is no broker is different. They all collect fees, even when you lose money. Does that sound like a fiduciary responsibility to you? Crash Proof Retirement is the only firm in the nation to record all financial meetings, providing a legally binding guarantee of Crash Proof Retirement's fiduciary responsibility to our investing client.
Ed Topkowitz. I went with Crash Proof Retirement in 2013. A lot has been said about being a fiduciary. Crash Proof Retirement earned my trust. When you come in, everything's recorded. I think as proof that they are a fiduciary, I have a team of expert people who know what they're doing and have me as their first concern. Not making a buck off of me, but making me a buck. And you don't pay any fee.
Schedule an appointment, 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Hey, Joe DeCamera here. Isn't it time to invest in yourself? Well, how about this? Start a PI Dental Center with decades of experience in complex dental treatment, and I've been a patient at PI Dental for 20 years. Dr. Glenn Wolfinger and Dr. Robert Slough, they're board-certified prosthodontists. They specialize in the restoration and replacement of teeth, and PI Dental Center are the originators of the teeth in a day. It's a revolutionary treatment that delivers fixed teeth and implants placed for a dramatic transformation in a mere one day. So visit PIDentalCenter.com. That's PIDentalCenter.com to request your new patient evaluation.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
Hamas's leader has been killed, and the militant group says Israel was responsible. Philly police are looking for the shooter they say killed a man execution style outside a Kensington mosque. And Kamala Harris will be in Philly next week for the first rally with her yet-to-be-announced running mate.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-790-1400. 800-790-1400.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. And one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
Don Stensland, weekdays 10 till noon, only on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
And on the free Odyssey app.
One foot in the ground, one foot in the grave. Don't you dare make a sound.
I hope you guys are enjoying my music selection. These are the things I listen to. I'm all about Zen right now. Don't think twice. Go live your life. Okay, Andrea, I see you there in South Jersey. What's up, Andrea?
Hi, I just wanted to tell you, I wanted to call just so I could say I spoke to you because I'm a huge fan. I'm not a PA resident, so I couldn't vote for you. Well, you know what? Hopefully I'll see you on the national stage at some point, and I would.
We will see. Only God knows, right? I have no crystal ball, but we just have to keep pushing forward, right? We all have a sphere of influence. Figure out what your sphere of influence is and get about the business of influencing it. That is my mantra.
Amen. Well, I just wanted to say everything you were saying. I just got back on and I'm listening on the app, and everything you were saying is spot on. The world's on fire, and Kamala, is she running the country? I'm frightened of that because, she was, as you know, I'm sure, she didn't win any primaries. I could not believe that she just didn't disappear from the political landscape.
Threat to our
but now
democracy.
they brought her back.
I know, right?
He's
Like,
a
what
nightmare.
happened to the threat to our democracy? Andrea, thank you so much. Listen in, because right now I have neurologist Dr. Jerry Williams on the line, and we're going to talk about what Andrea, Monica Crawley, and several others have talked about. Where is Joe Biden? Who's actually running the country right now? Because the country's on fire, the world's on fire, and Joe Biden, I have only seen him get bored and deboard planes. Is that the extent of his responsibility? Once a week, let everybody see you get on a plane and get off a plane and shuffle around. Dr. Williams, thank you so much for being on.
Happy to be here.
Yes, let me give you guys a very abbreviated bio of Dr. Williams. Dr. Williams is a fellowship-trained neurologist and entrepreneur. He earned his medical degree from the Medical College of Georgia, followed by 2 internships in internal medicine and pediatrics. This was followed by 2 years of child and adult neurology at the University of New Mexico. He became the first resident physician to ever be appointed to any committee of the American Academy of Neurology when he was appointed to the Legislative Affairs Committee. He was also appointed to represent the Academy to the American Medical Association, where he served as the delegate to the resident physician section representing all neurologists in training in the United States. I mean, he completed his postgraduate training with a fellowship in child neurology at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill in 1996. And I tell you guys, that is an abbreviated version of the good doctor's resume. Now, I wanted to take the time to give a little bit more of your resume, Dr. Williams, because we're going to, to walk gingerly through this next conversation of what is going on with Joe Biden. I've said it before, I say it again. If he is unfit to run for president, then he's unfit to be president. That doesn't take a neurologist to figure that piece out. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know there's something goofy going on. And it didn't start the day of the debate. Joe Biden has been checked out for a long time. So, sir, I wanted to bring you on. 1, because you are a neurologist, and 2, let's start off with, what is a neurologist? What do you do?
Neurology is the medical practice of medicine, or the practice of medicine related to the brain, spinal cord, nerves, and muscles. But we do the medical diagnosis and treatment of diseases of those entities of the body.
Of the brain and of the nervous system, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, can you walk us through the initial process you go through when you assess and diagnose a patient?
Well, I mean, the neurologic exam is one of the more thorough, detailed exams that happens when you see and examine a patient, and that there initially you observe the patient without actively examining them. You observe them, and then you do a detailed medical history of the patient and interview the patient, and then you examine the patient thoroughly. And the neurologic exam is quite detailed, but there's a lot that you can accomplish with certain diseases, especially in the observation and interview of a patient.
Now, for the rest of you, you can go and listen to my podcast at the Kathy Barnette Show. You can find it anywhere you're listening to your podcast, whether Apple, Spotify, Rumble, or YouTube. But I had the doctor come on to my show, the Kathy Barnette Show. Sign up, subscribe, hit the notification button, y'all. But I had the doctor to come on, and we've already had this conversation. I thought it was interesting when you were walking me through. This was a much more elaborate conversation that we had, doctor, of what the process is of you assessing a patient and diagnosing a patient. You started talking about children. Some children are too young to actually tell you what is going wrong with them. But as a trained neurologist, you have with your trained eye of observation, you walk in and you just observe. And then that is how you also come to your assessment of a patient, correct?
Well, partially. I would tell you that all neurologists, and I'm a child and adult neurologist both, but all neurologists, there's a significant component of the neurologic exam where you observe the patient and you observe their motor function, for example, and then in the interview you observe the way that they respond and contemplate or analyze the information that's being asked of them during the interview. And keep in mind that, adult patients can present for a neurologist to see them in a hospital setting, for example, with altered mental status changes or unconscious from illness or injury. So these are things that, yes, frequently we see in pediatric patients that are quite young.
But you also see it among adults, especially those who may be so cognitively declined that they can't tell you what their problems are. And so as a neurologist, you have to also, your observation has to be finely tuned to pick up on what is going on with that patient.
Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
Okay. So with that, I set it up as best I could. Again, you guys go to Kathy Barnette Show. You can see the more, because we actually, you and I, we brought up clips of Joe Biden speaking over the past 3 years. We even went back to almost, I think there was one video that was like maybe 5 years ago of Joe Biden then, Joe Biden today. And we just kind of take these clips unedited. And as a trained neurologist, I asked you to diagnose Joe Biden. So what is your diagnosis of Joe Biden as a trained neurologist?
Well, I think that he certainly has the symptoms consistent with Lewy body dementia, which is essentially Parkinson's disease with dementia. And when you look at him physically and you see that, and I would encourage your listeners to just, do an internet search and look at the symptoms of Parkinson's disease and then look at videos of President Biden, and you'll see that he has very striking Parkinsonian features consistent with Parkinson's disease.
Such as what? Well,
what
are those symptoms that as a trained neurologist stands out to you as there is something not right here?
Sure. Well, he has what we call masked face, where he has an absence of expression, and he has a decreased frequency of blinking. And if you look at older videos of him where he blinks normally, and then now he rarely blinks. He has a loss of facial expression. He has what we call bradykinesia, which means brady means slow, kinesia means movements. He has slow movements. He has decreased arm swing. So
but
his
isn't that
arms
just
are
a process of getting old? People shuffle. I shuffle out of bed.
No, ma'am. No, he has mannequin type features of his arms where they're somewhat fixed and mannequin-like, and we call that decreased arm swing. He has a shuffling gait. He has poor balance. And then from a mental status standpoint, embarrassingly, and tragically, we've all seen his inability to complete sentences and to complete thoughts. We've seen his multiple falls. We saw Joe Biden having to help him down 2 steps after the debate back in June. So there's just a whole plethora of video evidence of this collection of symptoms that you see in President Biden. And I've actually been expressing my concern since 2019 that he had symptoms consistent with early Lewy body dementia, and it's clearly progressed over the last 5 years. So, yeah, I was just dumbfounded, Kathy, that, how in the world did his handlers think that they could take him through this process and then expect him to complete another 4-year presidency. And I got to tell you, this is probably the greatest cover-up in the history of the presidency. Kathy, I don't think you and I discussed it, but one of my areas of expertise is President Theodore Roosevelt's health. And it's something that I've done for over 20 years, and I have consulted with the Roosevelt family at times over questions about President Roosevelt's health, and have worked with two Pulitzer Prize-winning historians. And so presidential health is an important topic in history. And so, I've watched this, how the people around President Biden have handled this, and they've literally been covering up the fact that he was in severe cognitive decline, but allowing him to continue to run the country.
I know. And so that is the reason why I wanted to bring you on, Doctor. Again, you guys can go to the Kathy Barnette Show. There's a much more, I think we probably talked for like almost an hour of just kind of slowly walking through, how you as a trained neurologist will come to such an assessment. There's a lot there. I'm coming up against a hard break, but Dr. Jerry, thank you so very much for coming on. I truly appreciate you providing us some insight. So just in case I hit a hard break, I wanted to get my thank yous out there. But doctor, they would tell us that, this just happened, right? Kamala Harris.
No. Yeah, no, Kathy, no. That's the lie they're selling us. And if you've watched the videos, sharp as a tack, the president's sharp. He's sharp. Over and over and over again. That's been the mainstream media's talking point. And literally, this is the propaganda that mainstream media is selling, and they're doing it for everything. Like they're selling us how wonderful and popular Kamala Harris is now, and if you can't see what a psyop that is, then you need to wake up. But no, they repeatedly use the word the president is sharp. He's sharp. No, he's not. And no, he hasn't been for some time. And, it's so incredibly, and look, you don't have to be a neurologist.
Before you go off, are you giving advice over the radio?
Oh, not at all.
No, you're just making an observation?
Yeah, these are my observations. But, you don't have to be a neurologist to see that something was wrong with the president.
Right, but as a neurologist, you have command of a vocabulary and skill sets that the rest of us as lay people don't know. And if the media is not going to give it to us because, right before the debate, all was well, all was fine, there was no problem. But we're all looking at, no, there's something definitely wrong with the president. So I thank you for sharing your observation, not advice. I appreciate it. Okay, we got to take a break. Hit my music. I will see you guys on the other side. Thank you. Woo! Don't let them take control, y'all.
Help me escape. I'm talking about the new 2024 Tonale from Alfa Romeo. Tonale, beautiful. Wilmington Pike, built with the iconic grille, those 5-hole wheels. If you have seen this vehicle, it's a work of art. And for your convenience, you're going to find a hands-free power liftgate, a 10-inch touchscreen, 10 inches, keyless entry, a wireless charging pad, brilliant LED adaptive lights. This is a beautiful thing. And for a limited time, it's all yours. Lease a Tonale TI all-wheel drive for just $299 a month. $299 a month for 24 months. Just visit Alfa Romeo of Wilmington Pike, Chadds Ford for all the details. Alfa Romeo of Wilmington Pike in Chadds Ford. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Are you raising the child of a loved one? You're not alone. Like many others, you've stepped up to raise the child of a friend or family member, allowing them to live, grow, and thrive among people they know. While fulfilling, it can also be challenging. But there is support. PA Kin Connector helps kinship caregivers just like you by providing connections to resources, services, training, and support groups. Don't navigate the journey alone.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Hey, it's Greg with Kale & Company. The best place to bet the games this summer is FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino. It's America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Then you can bet on all your favorite international teams in all your favorite sports, from basketball to badminton. Don't forget those badminton fans. There's a ton of them out there. And soccer to swimming. FanDuel has it all. You can bet same-game parlays. There's all kinds of prop bets. It's all right there at FanDuel.com. So don't miss your chance to score $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. All you have to do is go to FanDuel.com/Greg to sign up. FanDuel.com/Greg to start betting the games today. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official partner of 1210 WPHT. 21 and over, present in PA. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Mr. Joe Conklin with the City Rhythm Orchestra.
Joel Embiid is excited.
The process marches on.
Oh, George, welcome to Philadelphia.
Maury, hallelujah.
See Joe Conklin and the City Rhythm Orchestra at Cherokee High School in Marlton, New Jersey, Saturday, October 26th. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com.
The Sixers will prevail.
Oh, baby!
joeconklin.com.
This is Jordan Lundy of Lundy Law. When we say we hope you're never involved in an accident, we mean it. But if you are injured in an accident, we'll work quickly and tirelessly to get you the maximum compensation you deserve. And when we also say we only get paid when your case is over and you get paid, we mean it. Remember our name, Lundy Law, your injury lawyers. Call 1-800-LUNDY-LAW or visit lundylaw.com.
What if I told you your home movies are already past their prime? It's true. The magnetic tape used in VHS and camcorder tapes only lasts between 10 to 20 years, which means your baby's first steps, weddings, and family vacations are fading away as we speak. Digitizing your old media with Legacy Box stops this fading process in its tracks. And by preserving your recordings, they're safe forever. Legacy Box is simply the best way to preserve your past, which is why they've been trusted by over 1 million families. Your memories are meant to be shared, not chewed up by the VCR or worn away with time. For a limited time, you can convert your tapes to digital for just $9 a tape. There's never been a better time to convert your entire collection. That includes film reels and photos too. Visit legacybox.com/value to get our $9 sale. That's legacybox.com/value to unlock our $9 offer. legacybox.com/value.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Yes, I am. I said it. I'm not taking it back. Whatever. Listen, guys, I would love for you to call in. I want you to be a part of this conversation. Dial 855-839-1210. 855-839-1210. Mark, I dropped your call, or I guess you dropped the call. Call back in. I hear you are a peach. So I would love for you to call back in. That number is 855-839-1210. And you can also listen to me, Kathy Barnette, standing in for Dawn on the Dawn Stensland Show on my podcast, heard everywhere you listen to your podcast at the Kathy Barnette Show. And next is I really appreciate this guy, Tim Young. Hey, Tim, what's up?
How are you? You're so popular that you can't even get guests to just call in. That's how crazy the show's been going today. Not bad, Kathy.
It's been
who do I have to call
a lot.
Am I going to call management at the station to give you a show? Are they going to give you a show?
I don't know. If they're smart, somebody will be figuring out some numbers and some paperwork right about now, right? But we'll see. We'll see.
They haven't figured it out for me at Sirius XM, so hopefully you can hit it. So let's do this, Kathy.
Well, listen, guys, I appreciate you so much, Tim. When no one else would bring me onto their show. 1210 always did, but you as well, Tim. You always brought me on Sirius XM, allowing me to speak to the people during that 2022 race. I will always appreciate you. For the rest of you, Tim is a comedian, host, speaker, author, always on Sirius XM, hosting shows, and I just truly appreciate him. So I asked you to come on, Tim, because I wanted to do Beyond the Headlines. Dun, dun, dun. If you come back again, we'll have music with Tim Young, right? So I'm going to toss out some headlines. I want you to tell us what's really going on. The first one, yesterday, I thought this was a joke, but it's not. White dues for Harris. What is that?
If you look at who was on the call, it looks like it's monkeypox for Harris. It's these guys, like, number one, the very first thing she does after stealing the election from Joe Biden and those 14 million voters is to segregate people. Isn't that wonderful? What a wonderful thing to do. Could you imagine? Yeah, and it's like one of those things, like, could you imagine if the Trump campaign did that? And I know, like, at this point, it's so tired to be like, they're hypocrites on the left, but they really are, and they don't even pay attention to anything that they're doing.
It's so racist. It's so myopic. It's so exclusionary. It's so country clubbish, right? Yeah. White dudes for Harris. And they were all just so happy to be there, but just so ridiculous. And I think you get so liberal that you just lose all consciousness of how people perceive you.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, between that and then the first Kamala Harris free concert yesterday for Megan Thee Stallion. I mean, I hate saying that name, by the way. What a weird stage name. But, Megan Thee Stallion comes out twerking on stage. People are there to see a free concert. And about 5 minutes into Kamala's speech, people start leaving.
Yeah.
So, this is the same thing. You've been in Pennsylvania for a long time. When I used to work, I worked for the Bush campaign. We won't talk about that too deep. But back in the day, Bruce Springsteen came to Philadelphia for a free concert for John Kerry. And he did I'd go see Bruce Springsteen for free. And then everyone started leaving when John Kerry spoke.
Listen, we have real problems. I'll never forget during that 2016 election, Hillary Clinton came to Philadelphia and she brought Jay-Z, Beyonce, somebody else, I think Chance the Rapper. And they're out there. I don't think Chance was, but I know Jay-Z was throwing out the N-word. This is a political rally. We got real issues. Today, we have even more real issues. The world is on fire. Venezuela, you have what's going on in Lebanon and Israel. I mean, the world is on fire, and you're giving free concerts because you don't think you can get people's attention any other way. It sounds so degrading and demeaning.
Not only that, Kathy, Kamala pulled out her black accent that even me as a stand-up comic on stage, I'm not doing that because somebody's going to call me racist.
She ain't
it's
black.
The same thing Hillary Clinton did.
Black people don't accept her. Indians don't accept her, right? I mean, she's not Black American. Let's just put it that way. And, and I've never seen someone who want to profess to be black, but they were throwing so many black people in prison just a few short years ago. But now all of a sudden she's pulling out the black card. Let's move on because I can talk about cackling hyena Harris all day. Play that video, Pete Buttigieg, because this came out of the white dudes for Harris. Talk about tone deaf.
I'm so glad she has made freedom the theme of her campaign because I think in so many ways that's what's at stake. And yes, women's freedom is Exhibit A after Donald Trump demolished the right to choose. But of course, men are also more free in a country where we have a president who stands up for things like access to abortion care.
Wow.
Men are more free.
Men are more free when women have access to birth control, he went on to say. I mean, it's just so much material right here. Him being a gay man.
Yeah.
Talking about men
are
free when women have abortions, but I'm gonna hand it over to you.
Oh, no, this is the party that believes men can get pregnant. So maybe if you're playing to that audience, which, by the way, is going to come back and bite them, this whole, they're playing to an extreme minority that I don't even think people forget that the African-American community, that the Muslim community, that the Jewish community, everyone is conservative.
Yeah.
Actually, white people are the most liberal group of people. So when you're trying to reach out to these diverse groups and you have the messaging like abortion's great, blah, 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 I think that honestly, I think it backfires. The people who that message is to are these spinster cat ladies who like want to have a gay friend who still watch The View. I mean, these women who smell like cat pee. I mean, you can look at a lot of these women.
Be careful, Tim. They're going to start calling you weird if you start talking about the fact that they're childless with a bunch of cats and miserable. Play that video.
Some of what he and his running mate are saying, well, it's just plain weird.
These guys are just weird. That's who they are.
As weird and creepy as J.D. Vance. Super weird idea from J.D. Vance.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's quite weird. Just plain weird.
Just plain weird.
Just plain weird.
That stuff is weird. They come across weird, and then they start being weird. Yeah, they're weird.
Being a really weird.
He's such a weirdo.
Donald Trump and his weirdo running mate are weird.
Okay, weird. The buzzword is weird, Tim. Someone got the memo. What's up with that? Why was weird in the headlines and trending on Twitter?
I'm not sure why they went with this talking point when you have in the Biden administration, you had a bald guy that wore lipstick that stole luggage. You have this deputy health commissioner, the Grand Admiral, who doesn't even try to look like a woman, just grew his hair long and put on a dress, and you're saying that that's weird. I mean, again, you have all of these people, these pride parades that they show up to where they're like having like drag shows in front of children. I almost said something even worse. But you're saying that J.D. Vance is weird. Why? Because he grew up poor and he talks about his experiences in a best-selling book. I mean, this is insane, and they're trying to again deflect and say that it's Republicans who are the problem. When you take a look, you don't even have to barely scratch the surface. You take a look at who's at the Democrat Party, who's representing them. They are the strangest, most bizarre group of people. They are the outliers. Again, a bald dude wearing lipstick who not only stole luggage, but stole luggage from such a designer that had one-of-a-kind designs that was able to identify he was wearing her one-of-a-kind design.
That actually happened. And he bragged about having the nuclear codes or access to nuclear energy, and that he could, I don't know why he was bragging about it, but he made that. But I remember him making that comment. That is weird, right? But I woke up yesterday to an article saying, hey, the weird is sticking. We think it's sticking to J.D. Vance. And I'm thinking to myself, now that's weird. That, again, we have real problems all around us. And instead of sticking it to J.D. Vance with real policy differences that are going to improve our lives, instead, Democrats are resorting to ad hominems, bullying people, talking about people, and calling people weird and gloating that we think is sticking.
Well, that's all they have, right? I mean, because their actual policies, if you look into what Kamala Harris has actually said in the past, she wants to make illegal immigration legal. She wants to literally confiscate guns. She said that she's fine with that. This woman she makes Bernie Sanders look like Ronald Reagan, right? I mean, this is how liberal she is.
Yeah.
And we can beat that drum all day long. But all they have against J.D. Vance, who, again, had nothing, grew up poor, was able to make it through that and become a hell of a success. And all they have against this guy, and he truly understands middle America. He understands a lot of the struggle that many, many people that we overlook. And because I grew up in Baltimore, you're in Philly now. All these big city people, we don't get how poor people are in this country. J.D. Vance gets that, and he understands how to fix it.
Yeah, right. I mean, and aren't those the people that Democrats say that their base is made of?
Yeah, but I think people are finally waking up. The difference between Trump and Biden and the slap in the face that people have had with literal expenses between gas and groceries and whatnot, I think that people are finally waking up and realizing, hey, there is a difference between Republican and Democrat politics.
It really is, right? The Democrat Party seemed to be represented by 50-year-old men who are hell-bent on wearing dresses and getting little kids to mutilate their bodies. I think that's weird. I don't think J.D. Vance is weird. I think that's weird. Do you have time for just one more?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so Team USA, wins gold in women's gymnastics. Simone Biles, it makes history. So awesome. But not before the Paris Olympics organizers issued an apology to Christians over the Last Supper parody. And I thought it was interesting that they said if people have taken any offense, we are really sorry. What should we make of this?
Look, I don't get offended by much. Again, I used to work as a blue comic before I got really hard into politics. And so I've said all sorts of awful stuff on stage. If I ever run for office, it's going to come back and bite me. Don't get me wrong there.
I know.
But that being said, what was done there is inexcusable, right? They actually truly mocked Christianity. And the organizer of it, the guy who designed everything, whatever you want to call him there, the director, the producer, he is a Satanist. He's a known Satanist. All of that symbolism, everything from the Last Supper to the pale horse to the countries, all the countries getting together following the pale horse, the golden calf on stage. This was satanic. There have been many times where, I see conservatives go, oh, there was a triangle on stage for Beyonce. She must be a Satanist. I'm like, okay, guys, a little much.
Yeah.
This one, I'm like, oh, yeah, no. This is absolutely satanic.
But then they call us weird, or they say that there's something wrong with me, or they want to label me because I don't think grown men should be wearing dresses, gyrating in front of 5-year-olds and reading storybooks to them, that children should be allowed to be innocent and we should protect that innocence. They would say, Kathy, there's something wrong with you. You're weird. But how many people do you think that had to go through, that parody of the Last Supper had to go through before they said someone checking it off each time? And now they issue an apology after the fact saying, well, if you were offended, we're really sorry.
Well, I'm sure their ratings are down across the board, across the world. It's not just America who's offended. And they try to blame saying that it was just America. But there are Europeans, there are Catholics all around the world who watched that and were like, oh, hell no, we're not paying attention to this anymore. We're not going to give them our ratings, our eyes. And look, I'd love to cheer on Team USA. Good for them. I'm glad Simone Biles is probably, she's a once in a generation, once in a lifetime athlete. I'm glad she's winning. I'm not going to watch it, though, because I, as a Christian and as a human being, we're so offended by that. I mean, they wouldn't dare even begin to draw a picture of Muhammad because we know how Islam would react.
Okay, yeah. Heads would literally start to roll.
Perhaps it is weird for us to be so tolerant as Christians of the BS that they pull out and slap us in the faces.
How about that? But you know what? It was something you just said about how they try to say, oh, it's just Christians in America who are offended. Washington Examiner Emily Hollis wrote, Republicans are not happy about Last Supper portrayal at the Olympics. Like they try to say, just America, just Republicans, just conservative, those far right people, we don't really care about them. It's not that big of a deal. But no, this is a big deal. And it was something that we saw with Biden over Easter, over Resurrection Sunday, when he made it all about, I don't know, gay pride, transgender awareness, visibility day, who knows, something ridiculous. And, but on the weekend of the resurrection of Jesus Christ, and now we have this satanic parody that was just, it's just over the top, but they're in your face. And that's my warning to Americans and to Christians and to people, Vivek's not a Christian, but he commented on this. He's a Hindu. I mean, if you're morally compromised, do you not see a problem with this? But to all others, you need to get your head out of the sand. These people are not playing with you.
And the thing is, too, like for me, if they offended Judaism or Islam and really slapped people in the face on an international scale, I'd be offended for them, too.
Absolutely.
We shouldn't be smacking anybody for any of their religions and mocking any of their religions.
Absolutely. I will agree with that. Tim, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Guys, listen, call in 855-839-1210. I want to see you guys on the other side of the break. 855-839-1210. And go pull up my podcast now. Thank you. See you on the other side.
A hot and humid air mass remains in place heading into the weekend. It'll be partly sunny with a late day shower storm possible today, high 92. Tonight, a shower storm early, otherwise partly cloudy, low 75. And for Thursday, partly sunny, very hot and humid with a high 94.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney, and the truth is I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-656-1551. That's 800-656-1551. 800-656-1551.
You can still look great in that bathing suit this summer since it only takes 40 days to lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds with NJ Diet. That's nearly twice as fast as weight loss injections and without any of those nasty side effects. Within a week of starting, you will notice pounds coming off and you'll feel good too since you are doing it the natural way, quickly and safely. You can still get slimmer this summer and without any shots. Call 855-5NJ-DIET or go to njdiet.com to lose the weight for good.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, we are offering to qualified buyers a maximum discount of $13,176. This offer is good on all 2024 XC90s in stock. $13,176. Plus, the Cherry Hill Volvo 2024 model year sell down. Pricing and attention to detail here is not to be missed. Volvo should be on your shopping list now. This is the time to purchase from Cherry Hill Volvo.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hi, everyone. Matt here from Emmons Roofing and Siding. There are a lot of companies out there that say they do roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Some good, some not so good. Be careful of those that say buy two, get two free. Does that really make sense? Think about it. At Emmons, we don't offer gimmicks, just quality products installed by our experienced craftsmen. We do offer 12 months, same as cash financing, though. That's not a gimmick. That's because we know how tough it is for some people right now to get these projects done. If you need roofing, siding, or windows and doors, call us for a free estimate today at 856-885-6677 or visit us at callemmons.com.
Cancer, a scary word, but not so scary if you have the right team. Hi, this is John DeMasi, host of Health Watch, Sundays at 8 and again at 4 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. And that team is Dr. Molly Fantasia and the medical staff at Innovative Medical Associates. Yes, cancer is a scary word and a difficult condition if you've been diagnosed. Over the years, the staff at Innovative Medical Associates has helped hundreds of patients with their unique medical hydration protocols. Cancer support is a large part of the practice at Innovative Medical Associates.
We believe in medical hydration. We've improved it so much that we are able to help people across the board with challenges before they become chronic.
Talk about improving your quality of life. Most likely, that'll happen when you visit Innovative Medical Associates. Check them out on the web at innovativemedicalassociates.com or call 856-489-0505 to schedule your initial complimentary consultation.
Calling on Percy to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app.
Download it now.
What is this?
Money Tree by Kendrick Lamar.
What? Money Tree by Kendrick Lamar. I did not ask for that, but I'm feeling it. I'm okay with that. How are you guys feeling it? Did y'all like it? How do y'all like my music?
Oh, I love your music. It's a nice change of pace from what everyone else wants on the station.
I know, right? I like it. Just pumps me up. Listeners, call in, people. 855-839-1210, 855-839-1210. Coming up is going to be Jordan Chang. I don't know anyone who has been more prolific in writing and in speaking about the imminent threats from China. He's Chinese, used to live there, left there, and have so much of a breadth of understanding about what's going on in the world around us. So when he comes on, I'm going to be talking to him about all these things I've been talking about, for the balance of this show. So if you want to call in before so that I can take your call and we can chat a bit, I would love to do that. The number is 855-839-1210. 855-839-1210. Okay, so we've been talking about a lot. We've had a lot of people come on, and what I'm hoping you guys are sensing here is that we are in trouble as a nation. Who is actually running this country? Don't even start with Biden. That's a lie, unless you're morally compromised. Blind, deaf, and stupid, quite frankly. Do you believe Biden is running the country? Exhibit A, you Democrats have told everyone 2 weeks following that abysmal debate performance Biden had, that he's unfit. So he didn't suddenly become fit, right? What else have we learned? We learned that when America is weak, when our leadership is weak, and this is not something that is just germane to Democrats. We have a lot of weak Republicans, and you hear a lot on the Republican side, the beating of the chest, right? And then nothing happens. Let me tell you something. Look what happened with January 6th. We know that was a nothing burger, but look how Democrats use that to spin their narrative, to galvanize their voters and their people, and look at the harm these people have done to the lives of fellow Americans with very little to no regard for these people's lives or any of that, or the lives that are connected to them. Democrats know how to use power, even when they're not the group that's in power. They know how to use whatever power, whatever platform they have to get what they want. Now, on our side, we have the former president of the United States within inches of being murdered, and we're still talking about it. We're still beating on the chest. Yes, somebody finally tendered her resignation. She wasn't forced out. She wasn't fired. I don't know if charges are going to be brought on her, but we just we love to hear ourselves talk. I'm one to talk. I'm talking, but we're just beating the chest. Nothing is happening. I'm so over it, right? But we see what happens, because not only do you and I see that there's weakness on both sides of the aisle right now, but the rest of the world sees it as well. And hence the reason why the rest of the world is on fire. I have Gordon Chang on. Hey, Gordon, how are you, sir?
I'm fine, Kathy, and thank you so much.
Yes, I was just doing a recap, kind of priming us for when you will jump on the call. Thank you so much, everyone. This is Gordon Chang, author, lawyer, journalist. You can find him on Twitter at Gordon G. Chang, G-O-R-D. Is it D-A-N or D-O-N?
It's D-O-N.
Yes, G. Chang, C-H-A-N-G. You can find him out there on Twitter. Help us make sense. We've been talking. I woke up this morning reading the Wall Street Journal, looking at what's going on with Venezuela. Then I flip over a couple of pages, and there it is, the escalation of tensions between now Israel, and now you have Erdogan intimating that he may get involved, and there's no reason for us to say he won't. We have the U2s down in Yemen saying, you know what, we're going to get in here as well. So now we have Syria, Lebanon, Turkey, Yemen, Iran, Gaza. This is quickly escalating beyond a contained war to something much larger than that. And I could not think of anyone I would want more on here to help us explain what it is we are looking at around the world.
What we're looking at, Kathy, is probably what historians will call the beginning of World War III. If we go back to the 1930s, there were separate wars around the world, and they merged into what we now call World War II. And, people can say, well, look, there's a problem in Ukraine. There's a war in Ukraine. There's a war in the Middle East. There's disorder in Latin America, especially in Venezuela, and North Africa. And people will say, well, these are just regional conflicts. That's not true. There's no such thing as a regional conflict. And the reason is because Russia and China are fighting either directly or indirectly around the world. So each conflict has global implications. And the question that we have to now face is whether these conflicts will merge. And as we have seen during the 4 years of the Biden administration, there's been one conflict after another, and China and Russia are destabilizing the international system. They're going after us hard. And so I think that the chain reaction has started, and the question is whether Biden is going to stop it. But I think he's checked out. So I see us on a pretty much there's momentum to a global war.
Monica Crawley was on earlier, and she, we were kind of talking about a little bit of this, and she said, what we're watching is what happens when you have weak leadership in America. And, but it kind of hinted, and I didn't get a chance to ask her, but it kind of hinted at the thought that, well, then all we need is better leadership, stronger leadership, and I remember, 4 short years ago, we didn't have any wars, any world wars, nothing what we're seeing today when Donald Trump was in office. So can we just all hold on to November and then get around to January of next year and all of this will be resolved and we can just all take a sigh of relief?
I'd like to think so. And, certainly you're right. During the 4 years of the Trump administration, there was peace and stability around the world. And what happened is after Biden's catastrophic withdrawal from Afghanistan in August 2021, you then had Russia invade Ukraine. You had the Chinese and Russians destabilize North Africa, both above and below the Sahara, insurgencies that look like wars. And, of course, the October 7th attack on Israel, which is now broadened out. It's not just Gaza. It's also the Red Sea.
Lebanon, Turkey.
In Lebanon. You have Turkey. And I'm glad you mentioned that because Israel is a nuclear-armed state. Turkey has the second largest armed forces in NATO. If Turkey were to actually invade Israel, they'd have to go through a couple other countries to get there. But if they were to do that, they probably would overrun the place if the war stayed conventional, which means it probably would not.
And what do you mean by conventional?
The use of weapons other than nuclear weapons. So there's a couple things we can take away from this. And one of them is that maybe Turkey would not have threatened an attack on a nuclear-armed Israel unless Turkey knew that it had the backing of a nuclear weapon state. And that would most likely be Russia. So we could have the world's first nuclear exchange, and that could spread. This is exceedingly dangerous. Remember...
does Turkey have nuclear weapon?
No.
Okay, so you're saying that the only one thing we can, maybe take away from this is that Erdogan in Turkey, the president of Turkey, would not have threatened to get involved in a war with Israel, who do have nuclear weapons, unless they had the backing of another country that had nuclear weapons, i.e., Russia.
Yes, that's a real possibility because that is really the most sensible position for Erdogan, is not to attack a nuclear armed state unless he had somebody with those weapons on his side. And remember, Erdogan threatened this because of Israel's actions against Hamas in Gaza. Well, Israel just a few hours ago killed the leader of Hamas in Iran, of all places.
A few. You know what? I thought I heard that. I'm on air, so I know that they killed a leader of
the leader, yeah,
Hezbollah on Tuesday. But now you're saying in Hamas.
Yes, in short
Iran?
order, Israel has taken out senior figures in both Hamas and Hezbollah. And the more striking of the two attacks was against the leader of Hamas in Tehran, who was there for just a few hours ago. After he had attended the inauguration of the Iranian president. So really, right now, this thing is spreading. I think Israel did the right thing. It has to make it clear to Hamas that it cannot wage war against the Jewish state. But this means that, to go back to your original question, can we wait to January 2025? It very well may mean that the bad actors, sensing weakness, sensing the Biden administration just wants to avoid any problems between now and the election, that the Biden administration won't stand up for American interests or interests of our friends and partners. They could very well do something. And the other possibility, Kathy, that we have to consider is that even if Trump is elected on November 5, and that, by the way, is no sure thing, even if he's elected on November 5, it may be too late. The world may be embroiled in a war, and it won't be trying to preserve peace and stability. It'll be just fighting a war.
Right. I mean, like, this just has so many implications. But, let me just interject when you say, because Biden, the Democrats are in a presidential election, they may take into their calculus, well, we don't want to get involved and try to stop anyone or put sanctions on Venezuela, for example, or Maduro right now, who is, clinging on to power in Venezuela because he may restrict oil and then gas prices will go up and we may lose. I think that's very probable.
Yes, and remember, we know that Maduro clearly stole the election. And there have been statements from many leaders saying that. Yes. What we haven't heard is the President of the United States say that. We've had a statement from Antony Blinken, the Secretary of State, which was sort of weak. It's sort of like, let's wait and see. But I think we're past the let's wait and see moment. Because
people are dying in the streets right now.
Yes, people are dying in the streets in Venezuela. Mm-hmm. And the issue is whether Maduro will step aside peacefully or whether the people will push him out.
I don't know if the people, I've been saying this a couple of times on the radio show today, is that you can vote communism or socialism in, but you got to shoot your way out of it. And that seems to be apparent right now. In Venezuela, the opposition has collected all of the data from about 73% of the voting stations, which show that Gonzalez, who is opposing Maduro, who's currently in office, that Gonzalez received 6.3 million votes to Maduro. I can't even get his name out of my mouth. Maduro, 2.8 million, right? Because who in their right mind will vote for more of Maduro unless you are benefiting from him, which the majority of the people are not. And he's not relinquishing power.
That's absolutely right. And what we're going to see, the issue on a granular basis is whether the security services and whether the military will continue to back Maduro.
Yeah.
They are now. And that would suggest that Maduro will be able to keep power as he had in other times. But if there is violence, if the military starts to split, which could very well happen if the military uses deadly force against protesters, then we have an all-out chaotic situation in Caracas and in other places in the country. So this is really important. And, this is our region. This is not someplace very far away. So far, you've had about 7 million Venezuelans flee the country, which is unprecedented. And so what we're talking about are...
And most of them are coming here to America.
Most of them are coming here. And in places like Miami, it's you have a lot of migrants, and you have a lot of wealthy Venezuelans because they're the ones who left. But the point is that this is destabilizing our region. It's the region which we live in. And we need to start paying much more. And this is not just a criticism of Biden. This is a criticism of all of Biden's predecessors. We need to pay much more attention to Latin America and the Caribbean because these are the countries that most affect us. And we know this because of the problems at our southern border.
Right.
So, let's refocus American foreign policy because we got to do everything at the same time. We can focus on Ukraine. We can talk about Taiwan and all the rest of it. And yes, we absolutely have to do that. But the point is, at the same time, we also need to have effective policies for our own region.
I agree, right? And there hasn't been a lot of conversation. I remember when Donald Trump was in office, he tried to do some things in Venezuela to topple Maduro, but that didn't seem to go anywhere. Do you remember what that was?
Well, there was a previous election during the Trump era, and Trump was very supportive of the opposition candidate. And there were sanctions on Venezuela, which there needed to be. But, Trump was more focused on other things. Now, he had a lot on his plate, and so that's understandable. Yeah. But we needed a much more effective Latin American policy. Our Latin American policy has really been very counterproductive for a very long time.
Right. Exactly.
So this is bipartisan failure.
I think there's a lot of apathy around the word World War III, right? Like we use it so much. It's so common now for people to throw that around. And I think that that's part of the danger is that people have just grown, it's an overused word. It's a trope at this point, right. And no one's really paying attention to the significance of all of these outbreaks and what these quote unquote leaders all around the world are saying. And that keeps me up at night. I think about that quite a bit as I'm watching all of these, regional wars suddenly become not so regional.
Right. And that's a really critical point that you raised because World War III will be fought on American soil as well. This will be the first time since the War of 1812 that Americans have had to fight an enemy on their own soil on a sustained battle.
And is that because we've let the enemy in through our porous borders?
Absolutely. And also something else, and this is just symptomatic of Biden policy. On September 11th, 2023, Biden came to terms with Iran, a hostage swap, a prisoner swap. But as part of that, Biden gave clemency to 5 Iranian operatives. I don't have a problem with that. What I do have a problem with, he allowed 3 of those operatives to stay in the United States. Right. Remember, Iran right now has threatened to kill the former president of the United States, Donald John Trump, and it's been threatening and trying to kill Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and other State Department officials. So why would you let Iran's operatives stay in our country when there are clear and present danger threats against Trump officials and the president himself?
And we see that our intelligence apparatus aren't so intelligent. They weeks after the attempt on Donald Trump's life, they still claim they don't know what actually happened, and they're still researching it, right? To like basic questions. So,
right. Well, 9/11 was an intelligence failure. And the intelligence community is making the same mistake of politicized intelligence with regard to China. It's like we didn't learn anything, even though on one day 2,977 Americans were killed. in terrorist acts by Osama bin Laden, you would think that that impression would have lasted to today, but the answer is no.
The only thing these people understand is how to accumulate power, personal power.
I'm afraid that that's right. And we have extremely politicized intelligence in the Biden administration regarding China. And, you know, Biden is, you know, is president of the United States. He's commander-in-chief. He's got the constitutional authority to run any foreign policy he wants. But the intelligence community has an obligation, not only to him, has an obligation to the American people to get it right. And that hasn't happened because Biden has politicized their intelligence output.
Yeah.
This is wrong. The American people should be outraged.
And when I read in Wall Street Journal today, this little paragraph, it said in regards to Venezuela and Maduro, it says the leader, Maduro, has consolidated military, police, judiciary, and media power. And I'm thinking to myself, and I started thinking about Biden and the Democrat Party, and then I had to get back into, you know, the context of this story. No, they're actually talking about another communist leader in Venezuela right now. But I could draw some strong parallels between this statement about Venezuela and Maduro compared to our government right now that seems very politicized.
Absolutely. I mean, the Democrats talk about Trump's attack on democracy. The Republicans and Trump should be talking about the Democrats' attack on democracy. Like, for instance, Biden's assault on the Supreme Court, Biden's assault on the First Amendment. We can go on and on. But let's remember that Biden has attacked the foundations of our representative governance. And the Republicans should say something about it. And by the way, they don't.
And they don't.
You know, I can understand, Biden doing bad things. That's in his nature. But I can't understand the Republicans not calling on him, calling him
it
on
out.
it.
Exactly. Well, Gordon Chang, thank you so much for coming on, illuminating so many different topics. I really appreciate you, sir, and I appreciate your dedication, your hard work. Guys, go out and follow Gordon at Gordon G. Chang on Twitter. I do, and I take those calls for prayer seriously. So thank you so very much, Gordon.
Thank you, Kathy. I really appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, guys, I think we're going to come back. I think we have time to go to a break, come back. I see y'all on the other side. Call in my last couple of minutes, 855-839-1210, 855-839-1210.
When you haven't found love, it can feel like everyone else has. It's in every movie, every song, and all the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to find the one. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-790-1400. 800-790-1400.
When you go on vacation, does it make sense to have someone else pack for you? Of course not. The same can be said for your retirement. Your 401k could be packed with things you don't know about or even need. If you're close to retirement but don't have a plan customized to your goals, that's kind of like taking a 30-year vacation with no idea what's in your suitcase. Seems like a stressful way to start what should be a relaxing time. Jim Cipriotti and the Retire Ready Financial Group can help you unpack your savings and build a plan to help reduce future taxes, along with a clearly defined income strategy. Call Jim at 610-894-7415 for your complimentary retirement game plan, or visit retirereadyfg.com. That's 610-894-7415.
Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti. Retire Retire Ready Financial Group, LLC. NPN number 2083768.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Hey, it's Greg with Kale & Company. The best place to bet the games this summer is FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino. It's America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Then you can bet on all your favorite international teams in all your favorite sports, from basketball to badminton. Don't forget those badminton fans. There's a ton of them out there. And soccer to swimming. FanDuel has it all. You can bet same-game parlays. There's all kinds of prop bets. It's all right there at FanDuel.com. So don't miss your chance to score $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. All you have to do is go to FanDuel.com/Greg to sign up. FanDuel.com/Greg to start betting the games today. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official partner of 1210 WPHT. 21 and over, present in PA. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
Hamas's leader has been killed, and the militant group says Israel was responsible. Philly police are looking for the shooter they say killed a man execution style outside a Kensington mosque. And Kamala Harris will be in Philly next week for the first rally with her yet-to-be-announced running mate.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Do you know your numbers? What numbers? Your heart health numbers, your blood pressure, your cholesterol, your blood sugar, and your body mass index. They're important, so ask your doctor. Learn your numbers, and if something doesn't seem right with them, see a Deborah specialist at one of our offices throughout South Jersey. After all, when it's your heart, you don't take chances. Find a specialist near you at demanddeborah.org.
Keep free speech alive. Follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Got my walking shoes on. I can't tell you where I'm going, but I'm walking down this lonely road.
But at least the scenery is beautiful. Hello, Pennsylvania. Oh, I'm so very grateful each and every time a door of opportunity opens where I can talk, reason, dialogue. I love debate. So, Mark, I was really looking forward to you calling back in. Maybe tomorrow I will be back again. I am standing in for Don Stensland on the Don Stensland Show. I'm going to be here just for a couple of more minutes, like maybe 1 or 2 minutes. If you want to call in, the number is 855-839-1210. You can also find me on the Kathy Barnette Show, wherever you listen to your podcast. Please go out there and support what it is that I'm doing, having conversation, bringing in national leaders, world leaders, and just dialoguing about things that I think we should all be aware of. This is what this is all about, is dialoguing. We got to get back into the business of having conversations. Now, I understand the fear of doing that, because we now live in a culture where if you share your thoughts, it's not, oh, your opinion, my opinion, to each their own, tomato, tomato. No. It is, you're this, you're that, I'm going to label you, I'm going to get you fired, I'm going to write ugly articles about you, right? And we are so afraid. One of the things that have liberated me when they lied on me in 2022, I feel liberated. I really do. I didn't feel very constrained before, but certainly I feel liberated now. Because I know what that feels like, and I'm still here, and I love my country. The reason I got involved in politics, I was never involved before, but the reason I'm involved now is because of good people, better people on both Democrats and Republican side. If better people don't start standing up, evil will prevail. And that's exactly what we're living through. You guys can come up with other words if you don't like the word evil. I'm going to call it evil because that's exactly what it feels like. And it's the spread of this evil, the spread of this cancer. I'm watching it jump from Yemen with the Hutus over into Eritrea and over in Ethiopia, and it's expanding. Now it's back up there. Now we're hearing conversations about Hezbollah in Lebanon. Now Turkey have some things to say. This thing is really happening. I'm going to have to wrap it up. But guys, thank you so very much. I will see you tomorrow. This is the Dawn Stensland Show, and I'm Kathy Barnette standing in for her. Go look up this song also, Walking Shoes by Molly. I love it.
For a complete list of Talk Radio